Yeah, he throws the car up into the air and then bop, bop, all that. So, you know, that's pretty much the trailer. Hello, YouTube. It's Little Derek.comics back with another video, and today we are going to be looking at the Bulletproof gameplay trailer for Invincible Versus. We're going to play it through one time just so you guys can see the trailer, and then I'm going to go back and actually break it down. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Heard you passed up first dibs on my costume?
So yeah, if y'all don't know, Bulletproof, pretty cool Invincible character. He's one of the Guardians of the Globe, and he's a pretty prominent reoccurring character. In this game, he's a pretty good rushdown character, very similar to Invincible. So if you just like really aggressive kind of characters that can just get in and beat you up, this is gonna be your hero.
Coming up.
Yeah, he's just got an amazing level 3 on top of that. So yeah, that's first glimpse at Bulletproof.
Don't try it.
All right, so now we're going to actually get into our breakdown, and I feel pretty confident about this one after making this will be my third one that I'm making, and I kind of went through, and thank God for the devs for explaining some of this, because I would not have been able to do some of this without them. So let's go.
Heard you passed up first dibs on my costume?
Yeah, I got the speed lowered ever so slightly. So he's got this Rekka ability, and it's one of his special moves, and we'll go ahead and see it right here. It starts off with kind of like this strong, almost like similar to the Invincible punch that we talked about in the other video. And then it gets a second hit where it's another kind of strong hit, and then it can go into a multitude of attacks. So you can either go into another kind of strong attack. This will probably be good if you confirm that you have the hits in the combo. If you've got one of the other two hits, this will be good. It'll probably give you the most damage, I'm assuming. And there's two other things it can do. It can go overhead and it can go into a low. So this is really good for mix-ups. So let's see what he does after. So he goes into stand medium, and then they cancel the stand medium into his other special. So he's got this kind of spin, and he can cancel into any normal attack. It can also do a cross-up. They don't show it in this trailer, but I think the EX specifically can do a cross-up, and then you can do this leg kick. I don't know if you can always do that leg kick, or if that's move specific to this, or even the EX specific version of this, but you can do a cross-up with this. So a lot of mix-up potential for this. And then he cancels the spin into, I'm assuming that's an aerial heavy, I'm assuming. And then cancels that air heavy into another special move. I'm assuming this is a special move. They didn't quite say, but it's really strong, and it gives a ground bounce. And you can even cancel this ground bounce into they don't do it here, but you could cancel that into the universal launcher. And if you can, because I saw them do it in one of the other videos they have, I would highly recommend you check out the actual developers talk about the character. It gives a lot of insight. But yeah, so you could cancel into a launcher, or you could probably do another one of your other, at least normals, but probably another special move after this. And later on, we'll see that he even calls in his assist. So there's a lot of combo opportunity for, landing that diving special. Yeah, let's proceed. And this is interesting. His level 1 and his level 2, at least how I'm assuming they're presented it in this trailer, are very similar to each other. So he always does this back flip, and then he goes into these double knees. And I think these are a special attack in and of themselves, because every time I see it, it's always after. I want to say I've seen it after his air heavy, which these are all assumptions. I don't know that these are his actual moves, but every time he does it, it seems like it's after something strong, or, it's like a follow-up to something. But in the context of this super, I think this is a part of the super, because some of the moves that I see him perform only come out during the super. This little slam move right here, and then this kind of stomp. I only see this. I've seen the stomp in the EX version to one of his other moves. I can't think of which one it was, but usually these moves aren't just normals. These are usually locked behind something else, with the exception of those like double kicks, like I said. I think that's a special, but I think when you perform this level 1, you get all that as one combo. I think that's what the level 1 is. Again, just an assumption, but that's what I'm assuming. All right, so we start here, and he starts off with standing light, and he goes into stand medium. All right, so stand light, stand medium, you got a decent block stun going. And then he goes into the Rekkas. So bop, bop. And then this is where you see the low kind of attack. So boom. And so you can kind of see the practical uses of this. Again, good for mix-ups. And now we see like Invincible come out. He's doing his or what was it called? Geyser. But he does the geyser, and then Bulletproof comes out with an air medium. So here's one interesting thing about this, though. Look at when he comes out, right? So in the past couple videos, we were talking about when you swap out how they're usually switching into like special attacks. A lot of the time, we saw like Invincible tag out with his Invincible punch, his special move. But you can also tag out with your normals and start the combo. So I think this is like an active tag type thing in a way. And the animation when he tags out is a little bit different too. So it's like kind of this orange color when he's doing like the active tag, and then later on we'll see Eve have like a different color. So it shows you some different tag options you have. I know this is like a character specific video, but I'm still trying to piece together some of like the general gameplay aspects of it, because the game is still new. They haven't given us all the details. So outside of that, let's keep going. So he comes in, tags in with a medium aerial, goes into a light, and then goes back into that medium. So decent combos of well. And then he goes into what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that knee is a heavy. So I'm assuming that was like a light or a medium, a light, medium, heavy, and then he goes into the Rekkas. So you can do like the light, medium, heavy into the Rekkas. You saw how she kind of flew up after the knee, and then he goes straight into the Rekkas. And then he, like I said, I think the one where it's straight through and it's not a overhead or a low, it's good for like comboing, because he didn't use the other two, and he could have definitely used it. So the other two would have either probably messed up the combo, or they wouldn't have done as much damage. So that third hit, that strong wind up, and it looks really strong too. Like look, you see how he's like winding up and then smacks her with it. It's like that's a strong attack. And then this is like the level 2, I'm assuming. So it's very similar to the level 1, but there's like one key difference I noticed. So he kicks her up, and then from right here, he kind of gets like this strong like Captain Falcon knee, and then goes into the second knee. And if we look at like the other one that he did earlier, like the one from like earlier, he does the like both knees, but there's not like a cinematic thing after. The cinematic is like when he starts it up. So like boom, and then we see that kind of fighter's launcher animation. But then the other two attacks are just like bop, bop. Whereas when we see this one, it starts that strong like launcher animation, and then it gets another like launcher animation on top of it. So I don't know if this like does slightly more damage or if it's better for combos or whatever, but I noticed that one difference. And then yeah, he goes into the second knee, and then launches down. So I'm not sure if that was like just two level 1s that they showed. That would be really weird. But the level 1 and level 2 seem really similar. And I might not even know entirely what they do. Those could have been just like straight up combos they were doing after it. And maybe like one is a lot. I don't know. The level 1 and 2 are kind of weird. So, but let's continue. So right here, so we see like this animation change when he's doing this dive special. Because usually it's just like the dive special. There's like no special animation to it. So I'm going to assume this is a counter that he got. And then Eve stops her before she gets to the ground, and he follows up with the knee launcher. And this is part of the reason why I assume that these like knees are one of the specials, because it's always like this 2-hitting knee attack, and it picks him up off the ground on this one. So it's slightly different, the aerial version and the grounded version, but this kind of does like a DP kind of thing where it's like lifts them off the ground, and he can start a launcher from that. That's pretty cool actually. And then he comes down, he gets, what was that, medium kick or just medium? Yeah, he gets a medium after the launcher, jumps up, and does another medium. So we can kind of see some rejump combos. And then he starts this combo off. He's in a block string, and he goes for a standing medium. And then he goes for the Rekka. And then you see the overhead. I know I put the sound effect right there. I know I did. But yeah, you see the overhead, he comes down. A lot of block string pressure. He's gonna be really great for mix-ups and block string pressure, especially depending on the assists he has. It's gonna be dangerous. All right, so then he does another stand medium, crouch medium, and then launcher. And then he goes for an air medium, and then the heavy into the special knee into a medium, and then cancels the medium into an EX like spin. And they did mention that this spin specifically is the down special, food for thought. But yeah, he does the EX special, and then you see the EX special of this little Sonic the Hedgehog spin. It goes straight into that little stomp. And that's the only other time I see that stomp outside of the level 1 and 2 supers. So I think that stomp is kind of attached to some of the other specials. I don't think you can just do it on command unless it's like maybe a command normal. And I do also want to mention that the Rekkas, they did mention in the developer interview that the Rekkas do also do a cross up. So you not only have to worry about, when you do the Rekkas, you not only have to worry about like the overheads and the lows, but you also have to worry about side switches. So that'll be good for getting you out of the corner. I think it's the EX specifically. I don't think you can do it with like the normal version of it. But either way, it's still an option that you have. So you have to worry about cross ups with the Rekka. You have to worry about overheads. You have to worry about lows. You have to worry about side switches. So he's a very dangerous character in terms of mix ups. He's probably one of the most mix up heavy characters I've seen outside of like maybe Gotenks in fighters, but like even Gotenks doesn't just have like side switches like that. You have to kind of maneuver around and just call out assists. This is insane that he can do stuff like that. But yeah, and then we get the big dramatic car special, and he throws the car up in the air. Yeah, he throws the car up into the air and then bop bop all that. So that's pretty much the trailer. I'm gonna let the animation play through right quick, and then I'm gonna give my final thoughts. So, what do I think about Bulletproof, right? But yeah, I think Bulletproof looks insane. I think he's gonna be a really tricky character with the mix-up. I think he'll be a really strong, aggressive presence. Am I gonna use him? I actually might. Depending on if he feels better than. I'm not the biggest fan of Bullet. I don't dislike Bulletproof. I really like that he's a character, and I like that they fleshed him out in this game and made him look amazing, despite not being a character that's too, prevalent in the show. But, we'll see how it works out. I think this was the most straightforward gameplay breakdown, and I'm excited to see more. So let me know what you think about Bulletproof. Are you going to main this character? Do you love seeing him? And let me know if you want more Invincible versus content. I'm gonna do more anyway. It's just it gets views. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe. For more content. I do character breakdowns and things like that all the time, especially for Invincible versus. My next character is probably gonna be Thula, so expect that next week. But with that being said, that's the gameplay breakdown, and I'm out. Peace.